one of that type of deal. Yeah.
And I said, if are you going to go over and
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. Roll call. Collins.
Here.
Baloo.
Here.
Contos. Dan.
Here.
Amstutz. Here. Buxton.
Here.
Council received the meeting minutes from the regular council meeting on April 7th. Any amendments to those? Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. Chief, if you would be so kind to hand me that notepad. Takes us into public speaks. We'll start with John Spillart with Bay Point Tech Services. I emailed council a proposal. I had invited John to come down and review our IT infrastructure. So I asked him to come in and give just a summary of that visit. So, John, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having us. My name is John Sclair. This is David Schweier. We're here with Bay Point Technology. We like to say that we are the one source for all of your business's IT needs. So a few weeks back, David and I came and visited with Mr. Spencer here at Village Hall. And while we were here, we discovered a few pain points and maybe some shortcomings of the current support for the IT. And based off what we found, we were able to put together the proposal for the Managed IT Complete that you guys see. And those key points consist of security, reliability, and response time, and being a proactive partnership. So to dive into those points a little bit, what we saw here was overall lack of robust cybersecurity. And what I mean by that is there's a lack of a firewall, which can leave you guys open to any outside attacks. And on top of that, when we were doing our walkthrough, we noticed that in the police department, some of the computers were left unlocked and unattended, which leaves out sensitive information. So a resolution to this is obviously creating a security policy to ensure those computers are locked, but also a robust antivirus, managed detection response, and endpoint detection response. Now, all of these pieces together will combine to give us a bird's eye view into your network to let you know if there are any outside attackers trying to get in. And that can lead me to the next point, which is the reliability and response time. So if a virus or anything else were to get inside your network, like I said, we're letting you know about this. But it's not just viruses. If anything else were to happen, like a printer not working, computers running slow, phones, anything of that nature, you all have access to a 24/7 help desks, which gives a 15-minute response time for any tickets that are submitted. Our technicians are also located out in Medina. So if there are any issues that require an on-site, we can get out here within 4 hours is our guaranteed arrival time. So that eliminates any problems that are surrounded with, downtime during the day, no network, no meeting. That's not good. So with us, you'll be fully taken care of. And that brings me to my final point, the proactive partnership. What I mean by this is we're taking you from point A to point B. So we provide professional guidance in all these realms, and we're able to proactively monitor and secure your network with our remote tools and our extensive staff. So with all this in mind, and based off of what we saw during our walkthrough and our discussions with Mr. Spencer, we put together this proposal to solve those problems and any like it. We're open to any questions if there are any. Thank you.
I had emailed that. I don't know if you all had a chance to review that in advance.
I do have copies printed if need be.
If you don't mind giving all one.
Yeah, no problem. I don't have too many, but I
Right.
got a few.
No, everything's reactive currently.
You don't have.
So nothing with, the police department doesn't have a passive protection or policies of lock.
That could be added relatively easily, but the whole proactive approach to firewall, the proactive approach when it comes to equipment, the nice thing about Bay Point is that they'll tell you when some of your equipment is starting to fail before it actually fails.
Absolutely.
They'll let you know, like, hey, this is going to be an issue at some point. You may want to take some time to get this replaced ahead of time.
We're taking the proactive approach to it that way. So when the issue does arise, we're not scrambling to fix it or data is lost or anything like that.
And
Being a
just to,
municipal-
I'm sorry, for Councilman Buxton, so right now, the programs that we use, they actually have to require two-factor authentication, things like that. So the computers, there is some issues with them and the access to them, but the actual programs that we use for our reporting and things like that, they're not accessible. There has to be like a two-factor authentication.
You have to sign in.
So you still have to sign in, but the problem is that with those computers now, they are vulnerability points, obviously. So.
And the reason why I really started looking into this, we've had some issues with the IT infrastructure in the last couple months. We've been without internet on a couple of different occasions. And as a village government, we cannot be without internet. We got to be able to serve our residents with their needs. This isn't I just want to point out, this isn't any indictment on Bill's work with the village. I think Bill does good work. He tries hard with us, but we need a more proactive monitoring approach to our IT infrastructure.
It's also $20,000 a year.
It is costing home business, in my opinion. If you run a village government where you have to make sure your infrastructure is up and running, that's unfortunately part of it.
Is this going to impact Bill's position or what he does in any way?
Bill?
Bill,
Web.
Yeah.
the web guy,
Yeah.
what will it
Oh,
do?
Bill, no, the web is something different with the web page.
Okay,
Bill, who we currently call in, we have IT, that it would impact that.
And then the 19 computers, I'm assuming that's our council's tablets.
Yeah,
included.
all included. We went through and did an inventory. Yeah.
That was not including the one device at maintenance garage. I thought of that on the way up.
Yeah.
I know you talked about kind of just used for email back and forth. So if that is something, obviously that could be worked in. But as of right now, that is just the tablets and the endpoints that are here at Village Hall.
Yeah.
Including PD.
That would have to be included the one PC. Yes.
what's the cost for that?
There's a one-time setup fee, I believe, of what, 2,000, 3,000?
One-time setup fee of $1,000.
Yeah.
And then it's around $70 per endpoint.
So on average at the end of the year, I think it's 18 or 19,000.
$2,600 a month?
That's the first.
The first month.
Yeah. With the onboarding,
And then what is it monthly after that?
1630, with a 17 with the additional PC.
Where does that money come from? What,
That'd be the general fund.
So have you spoken to Philip about getting him to do some of the same stuff?
I don't think, I don't want to speak for Philip, but I don't believe he has that capacity to, and the only reason I say that is because we've had a couple issues where we've had to call him out and it'd be, well, I'll come out tomorrow or I'll come out the next day. And it's, like I said, this isn't a slight against him. He has other responsibilities that he's trying to keep up with. So we're just trying to find a more dedicated look at the infrastructure.
Maybe we sat down and talked to him and see if it is something. I don't think the amount of labor Phil's probably charged the village, probably nothing
No, but
compared to, this is a big expense.
it is, and the council can take it up with Phil if you'd like, but this is, like I said, monitoring 24/7. This is answering questions when you all cannot access emails or you can't access your devices. So there's value in that. I'm not telling council what to do. You can look at all options. But I don't think you're comparing apples to apples when you're looking at the services that Phil provides versus what this would provide.
Do you ever have a printed copy?
The biggest point is we have a
I mean,
team
I have it here. I guess.
of, this feels like a thicker. Because I have it in my hand. The biggest point is we have 6 technicians that are about 40 minutes away. So if anything were to pop up, like I said, that can't be resolved remotely, we're down here on site. And I have to say 4 hours because it is what's in the proposal, but as my time spent on the technical team, it's most of the time same day within an hour or two that we're down here. If it's mission critical and we need to get down here, down here making sure that your business is up and running so that you guys can function as a village.
So would that be an extra per hour charge for that technician to come down on top of our monthly fee?
No, if the service falls in with under that managed IT complete, which as you can see in the proposal, if you have it, kind of expands out what that is a little bit. But if it falls under that, no, absolutely not. If your network is down, we're coming out here to fix it and no extra charge to you, unless we need to buy extra stuff. You know, new equipment would cost more.
Any questions from council? I'm not expecting you to take a vote tonight, but while they're here, if you have any questions, now's the time to.
Does that include like middle of the night call?
We have a technician on call 24/7. Yep. We manage other villages in the area, so we're no strangers to a police department or any administration tickets like that. I know it's a small point to make, but all of our technicians are CJIS certified, so we're able to look at the sensitive material and say that we're not going to tell anyone about it or do anything with it.
And you said you would help create the whole policy or privacy policies, things like that as well?
Of course, absolutely. There's been a few situations where we've actually worked with manufacturers and businesses to create their cyber insurance policy. So we've worked very closely with that. And I know that's kind of big compared to just the security policies on the individual computers, but we take it, like I said, from point A to Z.
I think we should.
From that meeting.
Yeah, we'll discuss it maybe private tonight or we don't have to wait.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do. End of the day, I'm just bringing the solution forward. You all can pick it up or not. So,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay,
thanks, sir.
Thank you.
thank you.
Gentlemen, if you guys don't want to stay the rest of the time, you don't have to, but we do appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Booker.
Would it be all right if I just sit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dorothy Bucher, and I'm a member of the Osnaburg Historical Society that meets every month, the second Monday at 6 p.m. across the street here at Werner Inn. And we are going to attempt to create a second volume of the Osnaburg Township history. This one is my copy I've had for many years, dated 1804 to 1976. And we're going to attempt there's several of us that are working on this, to bring it up from 1976 to 2000 or to 2026. And in that, we would need help from several departments here, this part of the government, and I have copies of what is currently in this book. And I would need similar things brought forth from 1977 to 2026. And I can give this to someone.
I'll take it.
I was gonna say, just as long as I know who has it, then I can check back with them, thank you. It's just a general oversight of different things that department does, like the sewer department, water, so forth, police department, councilmen, zoning ordinances, updating all the officers. And the example would be in the paperwork there that I need updated from the last 50 years. And I don't really have a deadline right now. We haven't set a deadline. There's several of us that are working on this. KU Paul is our president this year. And I don't know if some of you know who Lon Hudak is. He's coordinating a lot of this information that several of us are trying to scout around and find. So if you should have any questions, my name, phone number's on the paper. And, you know, I'm open to receiving phone calls anytime. And if you question what you need to include, you know, and we'll be editing it to keep it as concise as possible for everyone's convenience and the size of the book. And then I need to go, I have to go to the library, also the fire department, post office, and the township. Is there any questions about what you need? Which is a lot. I talked to Cassandra, I think it was April 1st or 2nd. I stopped in and talked to her at length. And she says, you just need to go to the meeting and give this information request. And then either they can set somebody up to meet with you, or you can work together to bring the information together that I need.
Man, I'd be a lot more comfortable if we could set a proposed date that we can get it back to you.
Okay,
I know it's a lot of information.
it is.
And Kurt, I know you're saying don't, but if we don't set a date, this is gonna drag. So I just like,
I don't even know where to find some of that.
Well, she said to me, she said, all the data is upstairs in the archives. And I used to meet up there as a campfire girl when I was much younger.
Yeah.
And in the one meeting room up there. And I said, oh, I know all about that room up there, having met here every week for years. But anyhow, I do not want to go through all those files alone. I would need a representative and to be with me.
absolutely.
But a lot of this would be basic information that's in your record keeping anyhow. So whoever would have some time.
Yep. How often were you thinking of looking through the records, ma'am?
Who, me?
Yeah.
You mean here?
Yeah.
I could meet maybe once a month
Okay,
for the next 4 months or
Yeah.
5 months and see what we come up with.
I think that'd be great. But if you don't mind, check your calendar.
Okay.
Let me know the
Okay.
dates that you're available.
Okay.
If fiscal officer Geist isn't available, I'll be happy to sit down with you up there and we'll go through the records. Okay,
Okay, that would be excellent. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
no problem. All right, Sue, anything for you today?
Yes, sir. Coffee with a Cop has been scheduled at the Fultz Center for Friday, June 13th. Time will be determined depending on Chief Hartlob's schedule. And the Fultz Center is giving us that room to use, a small room, and we're hoping to secure some donations of cookies from somebody.
Sounds great. That's really good.
Is the festival going on that time?
No,
It's the next week, right? The
Correct.
festival's the 20th, I believe.
correct.
2 dozen cookies and 2 dozen cannolis.
I can't say no to that offer, sir.
The Fultz Center is going to provide the coffee and water for us.
Craig and I already talked about it.
Stephanie Yost and I have been working with the chief on this, and that's what was decided was the best thing to do.
Sounds great. We appreciate that. Kevin, anything today?
I just came here to go on record as being opposed to the speed cameras.
Yes, sir.
And I come through this town, I would say at least 50 times a week. And I see a lot of things that go on here. And as far as the speed, I understand that's a problem. But I also talked to one of the board members here, and from what I understood, the cameras were going to send out a ticket after 10 miles over the speed limit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And what is the reason for the cameras to begin with?
When we did a speed study in 2023, just trying to gauge the extent of the problem. Because I'll be honest with you, Kevin, we've known each other a long time. Most of the calls that I get are regarding speed. Residents very upset, stating that we're not doing anything to stop speeders, that we're putting public health at risk through our lack of caring in their eyes, lack of efforts. So we did a speed study, and what we found in that speed study is that on average, about 1,500 cars a day speed through the village more than 10 miles an hour over the limit. And when you look at 1,500 cars a day, it's physically impossible for our officers to pull over 1,500 cars a day. It's just a problem bigger than a PD can do on its own. It needs addressed. So what these cameras are going to do is going to allow our officers to focus on more on the side streets, where we're also getting complaints about people blowing through stop signs, speeding down the side streets to avoid the traffic lights, and things like that. So we're going to increase our presence in those areas. And we also have an increase in petty theft in the village. So it's going to let our officers focus on those areas rather than running speed on the main drags going through town. It wouldn't take away the responsibilities of speed enforcement. It's just going to enhance it. It's an addition, a supplement of the PD, so to speak.
But if 10 miles an hour is where you're going to enforce that thing, what are you really saying, that the speed limit is set too low and therefore you know, at 10 miles over? And I'm going to add to this question is, at what point when the revenues don't come in and equal out where they're supposed to, are you going to drop that 10-mile cushion?
I think the 10 miles is set. The reason why 10 miles was chosen is so we're not being looked at as like nitpicking folks. Because I'll be the first to admit that there are times where I look down and I'm going above the speed limit. But usually it's not 10 miles an hour above the speed limit. Usually it's a few miles an hour above. So when you start pulling that number too low, people can feel like you're taking advantage. So that's why the 10 is set. It's not that we're saying it's okay to speed 9 miles an hour over the limit. That's not what we're saying. It's just there has to be a threshold there. There has to be something that we say, look, this is where we're going to start sending out the tickets.
If I can just add, as a police officer, right, we have discretion, right? And if we were to take a ticket to court, like say 6 miles an hour over the speed limit, I could write those all day long. Problem is the court's going to get upset with me, right? Because they don't consider that to be excessive, right? 10 miles an hour is kind of the standard that most courts look at to say this is excessive speed, right? So you know, in order to do that, and if I'm not mistaken, it is actually memorialized in the ORC with some of the cameras that it has to be 10 miles an hour, actually.
It is, however, the Ohio Supreme Court ruled that the state cannot set that. If the municipality were to choose to make it a mile, they could, because of the thing you just said, police officer discretion.
So, you know, again, it's you know, the courts, they don't look kindly on that. I guess, you know, they want to see more of the excessive speeds. They want to say that this is definitively a crime, right? This is definitively what's going on. And to go back to your monetary point, I mean, again, yeah, there is going to be some revenue generated from this, but also my goal is to see the speeds decrease, right? If I can slow down several cars as they come into town, it's doing its job. I want to see those revenues drop, right? I don't want to see, you know, them actually increasing. We should show that this has a benefit to it and it should actually be decreasing.
Right.
So
The goal of the cameras is not revenue. The goal of the cameras is to improve safety of our residents. And that's where we're driving. And as Chief said, if the byproduct revenue is dropping, that means the cameras are doing what they were designed to do. And that's what we're after. So, you know, the goal is to make it a safer place. And it's just one phase of this. You know, we put up the speed limit signs on Noble and Orchard. That's another way. And then we're also going to consider speed tables for some of the side streets. We have a commitment to improve the safety of our residents, especially those that are walking these roads. You know, we had one resident come in and say that they're afraid to cross the road to check their mail because people are flying up the streets and they're afraid they're going to get hit. We have, you know, some of our residents are senior citizens and they can't get across the roads quick enough if somebody comes flying through at some of the speeds that we see. So that's why it's being considered.
I'm happy with what you've told me here, and you're on record at the same time, that you're not gonna decrease that 10-mile-an-hour.
At the end of the day, it's not my call as council. I will tell you that I will be opposed to it.
Yeah, there's no plan to do that. And again, I don't think there's anybody that wants to see tickets being issued for 1 mile, 2 mile over the speed limit. I mean, like Mayor was saying, I mean, we've all looked at the speed and looked down our speedometer and thought, oh, I better slow down. Which is what those other indicators are meant to do, is say, hey, take a look at your speed once in a while so you can kind of adjust accordingly. I mean, I've done the same thing rolling into Louisville, where you see your speed limit and that starts to flash, let you know, hey, you're going a little too fast. So that's the idea.
I'm on the road all the time, so I understand that, but I just wanted to make sure you're on record also because of the seatbelts. They weren't gonna pull you over for the seatbelts, and then the insurance companies give money out to people, the police officers, to pull you over for seatbelt violations. And that was, it was sold one way, and then it turned out that it was a little bit more lucrative to pull everybody over for seatbelts.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that it's on record.
Very good.
Excuse me, Mayor, I do have something else. The flashing sign on Noble
Mhm.
is just a few streets from my street on Cedar, and it's busted me a few times already.
Yeah.
My observation is that slows you down right there.
Mhm.
And certainly I was not part of the speed study or the best place to put it. But is there any way to tell yet if that slows them down the rest of the way? Because when you pass that,
Mhm.
boy, you can hit that gas pedal, and by the time you get to the dollar store, you can be doing 40.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and unfortunately, there's no foolproof way to do that unless we had a speed sign directly after it.
Mhm.
Or a speed camera, I should say. Yeah, it's one of those things on those side streets where the speed tables are really effective. Because if you had a speed table going 40 or 50, you're gonna feel it. And that's where it's up to council to consider that. We have some information on that tonight that I'll be sharing with council. In my opinion, I'll go on the record and say I'd like to have a speed table on every side street in the village. Because I do see the people flying through the side streets. I do see people running stop signs. I see the same things that our residents are seeing. The only way you're gonna stop it is to make it hurt when it happens.
Mhm.
So,
I believe it's a good place because if you come off of 44 and you're blasting down
Yeah.
Noble to beat the traffic signs,
Mhm.
traffic lights, you're going to go fast. So that slows you down immediately. But then I thought, boy, after that, they want to get to that 4-way stop at Worley.
Well, I can give you some anecdotal information here. We have set up there and we've been running radar probably for several hours over the past week. And personally, I've had one person going over the speed limit. So again, I can't take a look at it and see what it was prior to that, but there is some proof, obviously, just for me anecdotally, that it is slowing people down. So.
Good, that's what it was meant for.
all right, Kathy, anything today?
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Very good. That concludes public speaks. Administrator Boyle requested a permission not to be here tonight, which I granted. He has some personal matters to attend to, so I will be giving the updates for committees. Please stop me with any questions that may come up. For water, there is a problem with the water line at a residence on 400 block of Wood North. That we're going to be retapping the service line to another location for that residence. That will take place this Wednesday. Hoping to get that done. We have a pre-construction meeting for the tower project this Wednesday as well. That is for the interior and exterior work that's going to be done to the rehabilitation for the water tower, which is slated to be done this year. Zoning, we approved 2 new permits since our last meeting. For parks, all of the roofing and soffits were replaced at the top pavilion and the restrooms. The new mower was delivered. I don't know if you all had a chance to go to the service garage, council members, but a nice piece of equipment. I looked at it last Thursday. It's going to be dedicated to mowing the park. So that was good. The new pickleball nets and poles were ordered. One request that did come in from council, or from softball towards council, This was discussed a couple years ago. I'm not sure if council will remember. But softball is requesting that council consider a $600 towards the concrete pads that were put in at the park. I believe this was a couple years ago. This was discussed. Last year? Okay.
We approved this.
No, actually, we didn't. They talked about it and they wanted us to table it because they weren't sure if they were gonna put the bleachers back in.
Yeah.
And we never did anything. I went back through the minutes to check and see.
So the pads were put in, but the bleachers put back on? the
Yeah.
pads then,
Bleachers are on the pads, at least the one I see.
Oh, so they must have already poured them.
The pads are full.
Oh, okay.
They're requesting council consider that donation towards that work. This,
We could have paid for the concrete, but I'm not
Right.
sure that we can give a donation to them.
we'll have to look at the options if council wants to consider. There was significant cost in doing it, but that's council's discretion. So please keep that in mind. Mhm. For service, the office and garage roofs are also completed at the service garage. Downspouts and gutters are completed as well. Roads, dates for our paving project will be determined after the tower pre-construction meeting. We're trying to get the paving project in line with the paving project on Center Street. As you all know, we'll be repaving the entire Center Street based on the work that was done there. The digital speed limit signs, as we discussed, have been installed. We filled potholes on 172, temporary fix. We have this on the list to be repaired as part of our paving project as well. Noble and Worley intersection project has been started. We called Canton about the speed tables. I mentioned this earlier. They've emailed some information that Henry, I believe, handed to all of you. Essentially, there's a couple options for speed tables, temporary versus permanent. Canton recommends the permanent. I also agree with that assessment. The temporary are cheaper upfront costs, but when you start drilling all the holes, it can lead to more costs in the long run.
How do those speed tables work when they're plowing snow?
The permanent ones are actually in the street.
They're
part of it.
designed to take that.
Yeah. So, permanent costs of the cost for the permanent, is right around 13,000 max per table. And that does come with signage. There are two suppliers that Canton recommends, and that's who we got the estimates from. There is signage that goes with that to basically alert people, hey, there's a table. As I said before, this is something that I think is needed. I'm not saying we have to do every side street. I wish we could. But if council could think about possibly doing one or two side streets as a test for the effectiveness of the solution, I would appreciate that. And then once again, of course, council doesn't have to make a decision tonight, but please take it with you. We have a couple roads that are a little out of control, in my opinion.
Like one on Walnut.
Yeah.
Most people blow through.
Exactly. Go straight off 30, straight down, try to hit, over to Market.
Well, they blew right through that stop sign
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
How many tables are we, what do they normally put in, like every so many feet or?
Yeah, you put, speed tables are typically installed 500 to 700 feet apart. They don't put them at intersections.
Just being like in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
The one in Canton I ran across, I can't think, it's right basically in front of the school, little
Yeah.
elementary school. You come up there and it slows you down.
Oh, yeah, if you don't, you'll feel it. I mean, it's,
It's not gonna destroy your car.
Right.
But it's just a.
That's the only place I've ever really saw them is near school.
Yeah.
What's the other second street you're thinking about?
personally, there's so many. Center is another one. I think that a lot of people fly, not Center, Church. Church doesn't have any stop signs on it. In my opinion, people fly down Church for the same reasons. I think they try to bypass some things and they speed.
Trying to get out of town or through.
Through, yeah. those are areas that I think would be beneficial. I also think over by the senior center, senior living, I think would be another place, because we hear a lot of complaints in that general area as well. I know we have the speed sign there, but I think there's something to be gained in that area.
I know those speed signs were put in on those poles and whatnot. Is that something that's easily moved if we see that?
I don't think it's easily moved. I think it
Yeah,
could
just
be
keep
moved.
buying more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Louisville does.
Yeah.
I mean, and they freaking work over there.
Yeah.
The ones I go past all the time, people jam on their brakes. They don't know if there's a camera in it.
Yeah.
I think because they do, but they just keep adding them. It's all the ones that are there because they're how many feet are those things in the ground?
Oh, they're pretty deep. Yeah, there was like a
There's a
kid that we had to
concrete
buy. Yeah.
Like you just keep adding them.
I don't think I'd be opposed to getting one or two just to see how it rolls.
Mhm.
I think the most troubled areas and see what happens.
Like I think Walnut would be. A
Walnut's a
spot.
good one. I think it. Yeah.
We've had a lot of complaints over there.
All right. Any questions for the service report?
What are the handheld things that were purchased recently? Is this just to find water valves and is it in the invoices, water valves?
Oh, that's a grant from the Ohio EPA that we received. It's a reimbursable grant. And one of them is a line detector that we can hook onto the lines and trace them underground, tells us where they're at, how deep they are. And the other is basically a metal detector that we can just pick up curb boxes and stuff under asphalt and what have you.
So did we order that? So did we purchase that?
Yeah,
And
we
got
purchased
reimbursed?
it. EPA has it. They've acknowledged they've got it, and it's going through the process of getting us our reimbursement check.
Nice. Can help for the ones that were just paid over and I don't know where they are.
Mhm. Yep.
All right. Takes us to safety. Chief.
Good evening. So I'm happy to report first off that our initiative to curb retail theft has been successful up to this point. We are at about a 98% reduction after we did our plainclothes details. And I continue to expect to maybe do those once or twice a month, possibly. Hopefully we'll be able to continue the gains that we've lost, but I've had one retail theft report in the past 2 weeks, so seems to be working. Other than that, again, we've been kind of going through our stuff at the department. We've been continuing our community outreach efforts at the shop with a cop. Participated in the Easter egg hunt this year that the church did over at the Smith Gym. So things are going pretty good there. We're continuing to look at our policy and procedure, revamp that, and just kind of meet with our area partners, kind of trying to decide, work on some MOUs and things like that. So things are going really, really, really good in the police department. That being said, I asked to have added to the agenda tonight an issue about bringing on another full-time officer. I'd like to initiate the discussions for that. So sat down, put my thoughts down formally on a letter. I put some packets together for you gentlemen. Basically, packets include letters from our full-time officers, their feelings on it, and also Officer Wydra's some commendations and training that she's had. But I'm just going to read this to you. These are my thoughts on things. I'm writing this letter to formally ask the Village Council to consider allowing the East Canton Police Department to extend a full-time job offer to Officer Carol Wydra. Several reasons why I feel this would benefit not only the citizens of East Canton, but the department itself. Officer Wydra has proven to be an invaluable asset to the department in the short time she's been here. For example, she's taken the initiative to run the department's Facebook page, which she's done an outstanding job with. In addition to this, she's continuously and consistently volunteered to pick up extra shifts, show up for community engagement events. She's also started the development of a reading program that we hope to utilize to partner with the Augsburg Local School District, which will help foster relationships between the elementary school children and the police department. Officer Wydra came to the East Canton Police Department with over 20 years of experience, and it shows. From a professional standpoint, I would have gladly worked with her on any of the assignments I've held in my career, from patrol to investigations. She's proven to be a very well-rounded, professional, and respectable police officer. From an administrative standpoint, officers like Officer Wydra are few and far between. She has the experience and years of service that any department would be happy to snap up in a heartbeat. I believe we need to recruit officers from this demographic because not only do they bring the experience, but they'll stay with the department for an extended period of time. The other side of that coin is that we need to give them a reason to stay, which is what I think this is going to be an opportunity for her. And that's what we need to start offering some of these officers. As a police chief, I've discussed with council the numerous benefits of utilizing full-time police officers. Some of these benefits include financial. On average, for the department to train and equip an officer, we spend approximately $5,000 per officer before they're even released from field training. This applies to every officer. This is in the form of salaries. This is in the form of equipment. This is in the form of the work that we have to do with other agencies, background checks, things like that. So this happens even before they're released from the field training program, and it applies to every single officer. Statistically proven that officers who are employed full-time with the department stay employed with the agency longer than officers who work part-time. We're losing money every time an officer leaves the department. In addition to this, we are getting a stronger return on our investment. A part-time officer in the village is only required to work approximately 4 shifts per month currently. A full-time officer works 5 times that, thus giving us more out of our initial $5,000 investment. The village has lost 9 officers over the past year, $5,000 apiece, that's $45,000. That amount would more than cover the benefits for 1 full-time officer. As far as training goes, the one fact of modern policing is that change is inevitable. And therefore, a lot of the training and skills we utilize daily are perishable and constantly changing. From firearms to OVI investigations, trauma-informed interviewing techniques to accident investigations, all the way to basic patrol techniques, our job is constantly evolving. Over the past several years, our profession has come under attack for having lower vocational standards than other professions. The answer to this is training. Unfortunately, it's cost prohibitive for smaller agencies. One way to counter this is by having well-trained full-time officers who can bring their skills, knowledge, training, and experience back to the department to train other officers, including part-time officers who, because of other full-time jobs, may not otherwise be able to attend training. Ties to the community. Several studies have shown that having regular interactions between officers and the community they serve improves trust and strengthens relationships between the police department and the people they serve. The community becomes acquainted with quote-unquote their officers and are more comfortable approaching those officers to report issues or ask for help. Commitment. As their primary occupation, full-time officers have a stronger commitment to both their department and community because their jobs are dependent on it. If they're not successful, then their departments are not successful, which in turn puts their community in a dire position and their jobs at risk. Continuity of operations. As a police supervisor, I cannot overemphasize the importance of knowing the skills and capabilities of the officers I employ. As a leader, it's my job to place officers in positions they'll be successful in. It's extremely difficult to utilize officers that only make an appearance once a week. Can you imagine having an officer investigating a robbery but only being able to work on that case 1 day a week? Nothing would be accomplished for an extremely long period of time. Consistency. The key to a well-staffed, well-respected police department is consistency. Consistency from not only the leadership, but the officers as well. Both categories outline the role that consistency plays, and it shows how full-time officers offer a more consistent staffing solution and offer significant cost savings overall. Closing, I would like to respectfully point out the fact that we had a full-time chief and 2 full-time officers when we asked the community to pass a police levy, which brings in approximately $200,000 per year to the department. At this point, we still do not have a new police cruiser. We still only employ a full-time chief and 2 full-time officers. By adding this position to the department is one way we'll be able to give the community back a return on their investment. Like I said, I put together a packet for you gentlemen to take a look at Officer Wider's background and some of the thoughts of some of our other full-time officers. You just take a look at that at your convenience. And does anybody have any questions for me?
So right now, we've got 3 full-timers, yourself and 2 officers, and how many part-timers have we up to currently?
So right now, I have got part-timers that work. I have got approximately, let's say 4 or 5. I've got Tim Wright. I have got Larry Carver. Trying to think of Officer Wydra. Erickson, and I believe that is it.
So your idea, you're thinking of if we get another full-timer, that's of course gonna help with scheduling.
I believe it'll help with scheduling. I believe it's going to help take some of the workload off of the full-time officers. Again, we're required to do investigations. We're required to do the community outreach. We're trying to do all of this stuff. And, having this full-time position is going to help across the board. Scheduling, workload. there's more benefits to this. Again, the officer's going to be more committed to the department. So we're going to have a consistent schedule. I know that they're going to be there. I know that they're going to put in the work, be dedicated to the community. The community's going to know them. Anybody else?
Chief, I have a question. What is her name?
Carol Wydra.
Wydra?
Wydra.
Wydra. Wydra. Okay, hi.
This is actually Officer Wydra right here.
Wydra, okay.
Anybody else?
I just want to put out that I support the chief's position on this. We've seen a lot of turnover in the part-time, and I think full-time is the more stable, more consistent approach that our department needs.
So with those full timers, how would they be scheduled? Meaning, would it be those 3 officers going like through the week, first, second, third shift? And
So basically what I would have to do is look at how we are currently staffed with the part-time officers and then deploy the full-time officers wherever they are going to benefit the department the most. So it may be, like I may need help if we do pass the ticket camera legislation, doing that type of thing. So it may be some type of a split shift or a swing shift. It may be second shift. It may be midnights. It's just something that I would have to strategically look at the department, the officers that we have, and what the availability of my part-time officers are in order to put that person in where they're going to be most effective. Any other questions?
Have we been on shift, like open shifts?
So again, Officer Mamarov resigned, so I am down him. Officer Wright has not been able to pick up as many shifts as he has been. I have got an officer part-time in training right now, but that is moving a little bit slow. So it is not what I would like to see it. And again, this is an answer that I think may help alleviate a lot of that. Not to mention the caliber of officer is. Anybody else? Okay, that's all I have.
Any other questions for safety in general?
Police cruiser, is there any more word on that?
So I'm gonna let Kurt answer that.
Yeah, you've got it in the financial part. It's been, financing's been approved. The chief, is this going to be built or do they have it on the lot?
They had one on the lot, but we took so long, it ended up being sold out from underneath us. So I have an order number for another one. I don't expect the delays to be that significant, but we're gonna have to move on this, rather quickly.
So you've got it in there to be approved. We need it, the bank needs it in the minutes that council approved the purchase so that they can complete the loan paperwork and everything. But the loan's been approved, 5-year loan, 5.25%. And the cost of the vehicle outfitted is $59,229.59.
is this basically like part of the original, meaning just another Explorer like we have?
No, it's a
Dodge Durango.
Dodge Durango, yeah.
Just because it's sitting on the lot.
Well, I knew we talked about possibly canceling that.
I sent an email this morning canceling that order when I heard, assured me that we were good to go with that. So.
All right. Takes us to judicial.
This is the third and final ordinance 25-11 by title only, Village of East Canton ordinance to approve a 3-year agreement with Targeting and Solutions Limited to provide traffic violation enforcement services to supplement the activity of the East Canton Police Department. So. Second.
All right, roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yes.
Hampton. Buck.
We got third and final ordinance 2025-12. Village by title only, Village of East Canton ordinance to adopt an amendment to the Village of East Canton, Ohio Basic Code to authorize traffic enforcement with Targeting and Solutions Limited to supplement the Village of East Canton Police Department traffic enforcement. So Second.
Roll call Collins.
Yay.
Baloo.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Yay. Buck.
Yeah.
We got, second reading of ordinance 2025-13 by title only, an ordinance by the Village of East Canton to amend the East Canton Village Employee Handbook. So. Second.
Roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Yay. Buck.
That's the second reading also, it's a screw up in the agenda notes.
We got second reading of ordinance 2025-14 by title only, an ordinance by the Village of East Canton to amend the uniform allowance and purchase policy for the East Canton Police Department and the East Canton Service Department. So. Second.
Roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yay.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Yay. Buck. Anything else for Judy?
I think that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Council Collins. Takes us to grants. Anything for grants?
I had a long talk with Miss Riggs, and she gave me some of the criteria to try and get the congressional directed spending grants. And part of that is getting basically letters of reference from higher ups in the government, politicians, city leaders, things like that. And I'm currently compiling a list of area officials that can be approached and obtain those letters from. Now, being that all this is culminating at the end of this year, we still have quite a bit of time left to do that. So that's basically what I'm working on right this moment. Henry is getting his costs and materials and stuff together for the water project that we're going to be trying to do at the end of the year here. And it's just a matter of getting everything together and have it all come together towards the end of the year so that when these grants come up again, we have everything together, we can submit it, and hopefully we'll get some good new water lines out of this. That's all I have.
Very good. Anything else for grants? Takes us to finance.
Finance, I'd like to make a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $111,458.57 as presented by Mr. Officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz.
Yeah.
Buck.
Yay. I would also like to make a motion to approve the payroll in the amount of $26,385.42. Let's go for Geis, I'll pass it over. Just that one around.
I'll second.
Roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Yeah. Buck.
Then we're gonna need a motion, Kurt, for the,
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for the purchase of the police cruiser in the amount of $59,229.59.
Second.
All right, roll call Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Yeah. Buck. Alright. The appropriations report is in the packet. Or just confirm that was sent out to the managers as well.
No, not yet, it hasn't been. I just printed it up and put it in tonight.
Anything else for finance? Thank you, Councilman Boston. Takes us to other. I see two items listed. don't know, Councilman Collins, if you want to discuss this daily quote or.
Yeah, I think, Mayor sent out, some info about the, tornado siren. It's not operational with township at the fire department because it needs the marks upgrade. Like all the, other radios we had to do last year. So I'd imagine that whatever that hard cutoff date was for our radios was the cutoff
Same
date for
cutoff
that
date.
tornado siren.
Yeah.
We already pay the electric bill, so from what it sounds like the trustee said to the mayor was they asking if we'll pay for half of the cost to upgrade it, which is $5,660.50. I think we kind of do.
Bless you.
I mean, we already paid the electric bill. I think it's a good idea to have it working. You know, my suggestion would be we just pay it, and then we just send the trustees a bill for the half. That way, we're just paying state. You know, I think it just makes it easier. We pay Staley, they get it fixed, and we'll bill the trustees for their half.
Yeah, I have spoke with trustee president Cliff Herring, and I asked him to check, and he promised that he would check with the group to see if they'd be amicable to that. I mean, I think it's the village going above and beyond, and but I do agree it is the right thing to do. There are some residents that don't rely on the cell phone; they rely on that siren, and I think it'd be good to have it operational.
You know, there's some people that no matter what their phone beeps and says until they hear that siren, they're not.
Yeah.
You know. Or what happens if you go and you shut your phone off for the night just
agreed.
because? I mean, there's 1,000,001 scenarios, but I mean, we've always had one, and you know, to find out it hasn't been working because of an upgrade is kind of silly. So.
Do we know when the last upgrade for this device was?
We have no information on the history of the
Yeah, we weren't responsible for the maintenance or upkeep. It was the township's responsibility. So
Okay.
I can't answer that.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious.
Was that siren working when they had the nationwide test in, what was that, February or March?
I don't think it's been working
didn't work?
for a while.
No.
It's kind of news to us.
Yeah. We found out this past month, so.
I think it's beneficial to get something in writing that they'll agree to pay half. That way we're not left with
I think regardless,
just a word.
I think regardless, it needs to be operational. I think. So, I think I'm only one person, but
Yeah, even if we don't-
We definitely have to get it going in some fashion. That's
what's
true.
5,600? Kurt said we've got the money in lands and buildings. To put our own siren in is 20 to 30,000. So I mean, it makes no sense to spend that much money when we can get the one that's right down the street working for 5,600, even if they decide they don't want to.
Well, and actually, that one up there at the fire department is the one that replaced the one that used to be in the tower here. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, let's do it.
Need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we pay Staley Tech for the tornado siren upgrade, not to exceed $5,660.50. And in turn, bill the township trustees for half of it.
Second.
Roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Van.
Yes.
Amstutz. Yeah. Buxton.
Yeah.
I think I got one already. I was able to download that when you said.
Next item for other, I had sent out information about debt collection services that the Attorney General actually provides that I would like council to consider. It is an official agreement, so it should come from council. I've already vetted the agreement with Charlie, and there are no issues with it. This agreement would be used to, at the very least, recoup some of the outstanding debts owed to our mayor's court. But I believe it also has the ability to recoup debt owed to our water department. Now, property tax wise, it probably would not be. Things are in going towards foreclosure and whatnot. But at least the water department in the mayor's court would be able to recoup debt. And it is a service that's provided by the Ohio Attorney General's office. I thought it was listed, and maybe, yeah,
I think those utilities weren't covered under that.
I think tax,
Tax,
taxes,
I believe,
yeah,
but utilities, I believe, was specifically excluded.
okay. I thought it said something like shut-offs or whatnot, but yeah, you can look at that. But if there's money owed in tax responsibilities, personal income tax, and then also the mayor's court. Right now, the mayor's court that I was able to find, there's over $20,000 debt owed to the mayor's court.
What's our policy now if we have unpaid taxes or anything like that? Meaning, is there a process, like after a certain amount of time, as far as letters go out, liens get placed on properties?
I can't speak to the
We
income
have,
tax.
we have an attorney
Yeah.
up out of Cleveland that does our collections for us.
As far as like the mayor's court, basically we put a warrant block on their license. And that's the extent, yeah.
I actually think the state just passed a law, like we're not even gonna be allowed to do that anymore.
The warrant blocks, yeah, is if they show up for court or not.
Right.
If they show up for court, you can. If they don't show up, you can. And it's like, it's gonna be another pain, because now we have to go through, Kathy, you know this firsthand, I have to go through every outstanding case that the village has in this mayor's court, determine if they showed up for court or not. And then if they did, take away the warrant block. Yeah, it's a project. So that's why I started looking at other ways to try to get that debt paid, because the warrant block's a nice tool if they want to have a license to stimulate the payment. If we can't do that anymore, we have to find another way.
So the services provided by the Attorney General?
Yep.
Is there any expense for it from us?
I believe that there's not. I think they run it, and we can also ask them to accrue interest on the outstanding debt as well.
What do they do to encourage people to pay their debts?
I believe they partner with other folks that put a little pressure on.
The mafia? I mean,
No,
what does that
no.
mean?
They just that collection.
They just make them an offer they can't refuse.
Right.
They hold the state income tax returns.
Okay.
It's an avenue to get the money back.
Well, it sounds like a good option to me.
We've got to have something in place.
Yeah. All right. Can I get a motion to approve, or at least enter into that agreement? They had sent it to all of you.
So moved.
Second.
You did say you ran that by Charlie.
Yeah, I already ran it by Charlie. He gave it his blessing. All right, roll call. Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buck.
Okay.
Anything else for other?
We have a few things that I guess we need to discuss, I guess. I think we should schedule another work session maybe for next week. I think we get a lot out of the work sessions as far as that goes, but the fourth full-time officer, the IT, any other grant information that you may have, and yeah, I guess anything else that you may have for that.
Monday, same time, same place?
I like that if it works for everybody else. Monday is the 28th, right? From today? 28th at 7 o'clock? Is that all right?
Sounds good to me.
Mayor, you able to make that?
Yeah.
And then, Kurt, you had made a comment or let me know about Blue Tech. I'm wondering if we can get any information from them to compare the IT stuff. But
That's up to you. I can reach out if you'd like me to.
yeah, if you could, that'd be.
I'd like to ask for a short executive session for the 121, you know what it is.
21, 22G.
Yeah.
Deployment?
Yeah.
Okay.
With, have the chief state the minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe more speeds on there too.
There's a standing motion requesting executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Band.
Yes.
Amstutz. Buck.
Yeah.
Any actions to take after? Any actions to take after?
I don't think so.
Very good. Well, folks, we appreciate you all coming.
No problem.
Okay, just like it sounds. I was in the Bell's earlier the other day, girls talking.
Oh.
She said, I did, you got out there pretty quick, I didn't get a chance to come. I said,
Sorry.
that's okay, it's okay, my name's Sue, nice to meet you. Good luck.
Yeah.
Still waiting.
I'm in the way, you go right ahead. I am.
I'll see.
Is that good or bad? Excuse me, Kathy.
Yeah.
Years ago.
Spirited discussion, so it makes all this work, right?
Sounds good. Meet the city of Canton Friday.
Yeah, I actually went home and told my husband, I said, well, there's a really pretty girl, I think they hired
Oh,
on
yeah,
the police
that's
force. I
great.
didn't get a chance to talk to her.
Thank you.
And I said, I'm gonna have to find out tonight what's going on. So,
Probably shouldn't be for now.